Now, whether or not we get to a point where it's going to be repealed, I think that's to be decided later on.
You're on the 405.
We've all seen the show Mad Men. Now live it with MadStyleVintage.com. Mad Style Vintage has everything you need to feed your retro addiction and live your vintage lifestyle. The mid-century modern focus will have you thinking pink refrigerators, vinyl records, and go-go boots. Go to MadStyleVintage.com. Click on their banner on the 405media.com. Click on the gallery link to see the latest and best of the retro lifestyle. Kicking it old school is what they do best. MadStyleVintage.com. They're a family-owned business. Tyler and his sister Kendra. They love the 405 radio. Love them back and shop their unparalleled selection of retro and modern. If you're near San Angelo, Texas, they're downtown at 9 West Beauregard. For the rest of us, visit their website, MadStyleVintage.com.
This is Tammy Jackson inviting you to join me on The Tammy Jackson Show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. on the 405media.com. Put down that remote and tune into the show that covers politics, guns and the Second Amendment, religious liberty, sanctity of life, the military, and more. I host newsworthy guests and work hard to be a conservative radio show that is not like all the others. So save Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific from me, Tammy Jackson, on the 405media.com.
The Talk Alternative is the 405media.com. It's John Grant here, and we are continuing our conversation with L.A. artist, Ted Cruz poster guy, Sabo. You're kind of rough around the edges, to be honest. You know, you're not a political person, and I mean, you know, big P politics, but, you know, you want to impact the war on progressives. Do you think maybe that there's some on the right that might look at some of the other things that you've said and done and sort of back away from that? You think they might be a little too powerful or, you know, profane for a political movement, or don't you care?
One, I don't care, but two, I am a political animal. It's like, I mean, when I was 7 years old, I would wake up, watch Rocky Bullwinkle, and then I would watch a political roundtable, and I enjoyed both of them just as much. I mean, I've always loved politics, and how should I say, but I love logic and reason. I love to be, how would you say, intellectual honesty. And, you know, sometimes you can be truthful, intellectually honest about something and really mean how you feel, but it may not be politically correct. And, you know, I studied advertising at the Arts Center, and I would like to think that the majority of my pieces are very conceptually based, that there's a real concept and context behind them. And, I mean, if I'm walking through a Prop 8 rally, and I see something that I think would make a nice art piece, it's not, you know, it may not have anything to do with how I feel about the gay community or the black community. I just think it's a great concept. I think it's powerful, and I'll do it. Now, you may ask, well, that may piss some Christians off or some Republicans off. It's like, you know what? I'm an artist. I do what I do. You don't have to like it. You know, not everyone's going to like everything that I do. And I can't censor myself for everyone, because as I was telling the people that I was working with, I mean, okay, if the Koch brothers come around and say, you know, I really like this guy, but, you know, he's got to take this off of his portfolio, and we say yes, believe me, 2 weeks from now, someone else is going to come up and say, I really like this guy, but he's got to take this off of his portfolio. And before you know it, I'm not even going to have a portfolio. So you take me with the warts is all I can say.
And I was reading through your Prop 8 page over and over again. I think, but I don't know, you were opposed to Prop 8. You're a supporter of same-sex marriage. Is that safe to say?
No, it's not.
You're not? Okay.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I couldn't figure it out to look at it. I know you were pointing out some hypocrisy, but I was kind of scratching my head. I couldn't figure out which side you were on.
My side is, and as corny as it may sound, I believe as you traverse through, I'm 46 years old, man. I've seen a lot of stuff. Most of the people that I love are dead. I don't know. I'd like to say that I've embraced life, the back streets and, Brentwood or whatever. But what I've experienced is if you can traverse through this life and find love, like real love, you did something pretty special in your time here on this place. And it's not my business to tell you who it is, who you're in love with. It's not my business to tell you what you're doing in the bedroom. And, that used to be a conservative ideal, stay out of my bedroom. But how is it? I'm not sure if I'm right about that. But as far as all that goes, dude, it's not my business what you do in the bedroom. And I'm not a Christian. I believe in Christian values. I believe in God. But, as far as that whole Prop 8 debate, all I can tell the gay community is, don't call it marriage. If that's what's pissing people off, call it a civil union and take it from there. I gained an appreciation when you're sitting in a hospital room, an emergency ICU, and, you can't visit someone unless, you're related to the person. And from what I understand, you can do that even if you're gay and you have a partner in the ICU. But I don't know. I just don't see it as an issue. We've got bigger fish to fry right now.
And that's where I was headed with this. Do you think that one of the reasons that the right finds itself in trouble in terms of gaining traction with a lot of, different sectors of demographics and voters is because of things like this? And are there things that, we need to look at and either consider less important or set aside, social issues? Where do you think the blueprint lies for growing the movement and not making it smaller and less inclusive?
Making it smaller.
Well, what I'm wondering is, if you could give the right advice as to what to do to expand its base. What are some of the things that you think that it needs to look at and maybe not spend so much time wringing its hands about?
Well, who am I to tell the Republicans what they're supposed to do? And I am a Republican, but I would say that, and I don't have a spreadsheet in front of me, but I can tell you that it's my opinion that we have certain messages that would cater to these groups. We just don't have any. Not only do we not have anyone to tell them, I honestly don't think anyone's really sat down and hashed them out. There are a lot of conservative or Republican ideals that a gay, a Mexican, a black person can totally embrace. But for some reason, they're either not told about them or it just hasn't resonated with them because there's no one out there telling it. And, even a conservative can meet a gay person. The fact of who, like a man sleeping with another man or a woman sleeping with another, that's one issue in the entirety of their lives. These are people with jobs. They save money. They're educated. Some of them want to raise kids. There's so many, there's so many issues or facets to an individual's life. Why aren't the Republicans and conservatives touching upon those issues with these communities? Okay, so you're fighting for, I want to sleep with another man. That's fine, but what the hell good is it if you don't have a job? I don't know how else to put it. I'm just saying.
Do you think, and it's because I think a lot of people on the right look at your work and they see you as somebody who is connected to culture, and they're very encouraged by that. Do you think that's a problem with the right? Is, there aren't enough people like you who feel so inspired to, use your culture to speak about things which may be more political? Is it a failure to connect with culture?
It is. You've heard that cliche, if you're not a liberal by, in your 20s, you don't have a heart. If you're not a conservative, if by your 30s, you don't have a brain. That's just understood as far as a lot of people think, maybe not everybody. But my point is that's wrong. It's the wrong way of thinking. children, from the moment they're sat down in front of a television, they're told who the good guys are and who the bad guys are. So it's no wonder they grow up liberals. And, I mean, you go into an art school, all these kids are like, I mean, it's totally plugged in there, man. It's like a little chip that they put in them. It's like, I'm an artist. I have to think this way.
But how does that change? I mean, do we have to put people like you in positions of influence? And, are we just hoping that, you'd become a leader somehow and you'd get through to them before somebody else would?
No, I'm not looking to become anyone's leader. I would like to think that I'm trying to start something, and 20 years from now, people can look back at my art and say, wow, this guy, don't get me wrong. I mean, you've got other people out there that do, art for our side, but I would say the difference between them and me is I'm a brass knuckle guy. I'm not going to be nice. I don't give a damn if the church likes me or not. I've got my beliefs, and I'm going to go in and fight for them, even if I come off looking pretty rough. But how should I say? As far as the whole culture thing, I don't know if I'd call it a mission, but my intent is to show people that do the kind of art that I do that you don't have to be a leftist. You don't have to be a progressive and think a certain way to do what we do. And, my purpose was to try and influence the influence makers, those young kids out there that speak to other young kids, those little street urchins, and, maybe they might start producing the kind of art that we agree with. And I'm not talking about brainwashing people. I mean, I remember once I was canvassing for George Bush, and these college kids, they opened the door, and they're like, hey, we have a Republican at the door. And all these college kids that were partying, come rushing to the door, and I'm thinking I'm about to get attacked. But, I told them what I was there to tell them. And then the guy looks at me and says, so you want me to join the Republican Party, huh? And I said, no, I don't want you to join the Republican Party. What I want you to do is, whenever you hear a politician speak, close your eyes to who they are and just listen to what they're saying, and then make up your mind from there. Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't want idiots in the Republican Party. Democrats, I'll be happy to take you. A vote's a vote. But, what good is winning an election if you have a country full of illegals, a country full of takers, and the thing is just in steady decline. So there you go. I hope to influence
one last
people.
question. There's obviously a big demand for the stuff that you're producing, and I know you have a page on your site which is under construction, to sell your work. Are you getting close to that, or is there some timetable that you have as far as being able to market some of the stuff? Because after all, we are not communists. We want to pay you for your work. Are you getting close to doing that?
I have a donate button where you can buy a Ted Cruz poster.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah. We'll buy or donate money for one. I mean, as far as my other posters and works, you're talking to a guy. I swear to God, man. 2 months ago, I would wake up wondering how the hell I was going to eat. My rent hadn't been paid.
More and more of us do, It's the Obama economy.
And and this is what I do. I mean, I'm an artist. I don't show up at work and punch a clock. And that's a cross that I put on my back. I'm not blaming anybody. But what I'm saying is, I'm getting some traction. I'm getting some money coming in. But it's really hard to produce a T-shirt when you have no money. It doesn't matter how great a T-shirt is. And I've never printed a T-shirt. So if there's some T-shirt people out there that like to help, by all means, man, get a hold of me.
Yeah, obviously. A marketing or merchandising person, I'm sure somebody would step up now that you've extended that.
Yeah. But,
all right, we've been talking with Sabo, who is a guy in California who produces cool posters. He calls himself an anti-progressive, and he came into real fame recently when he did a Ted Cruz poster that we've all seen with the cigarette hanging out of his mouth. We know Ted Cruz doesn't smoke. He said so, and the tattoos. So, hey, thanks, man. I really appreciate you spending some time this afternoon. Good luck. I hope, someday you can sort of, come out from behind the shadows and, hang out with the rest of us who, like to say what's on our mind politically speaking. And I hope you find a big market for your work.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for having me on.
All right, it's John Grant of the 405media.com.
You're on the